Sala Cup Namde? Well, that's exactly what every RCB fan asks every season before it starts, and then they end up in that same particular mood. But this time around, things are slightly different because there's a change of guard, and there's lots more changes. I should say. I'm already nervous talking about my own team, but enough of me. Let's get on. Of course, one of our esteemed writers in Shubh Agarwal, who's been waiting for this one because he can banter the hell out of me because we're going to be talking about, of course, Royal Challengers Bangalore today with Faf du Plessis, as you can see, and Virat Kohli, who's going to be, of course, in the limelight as usual. Shubh, straight up, simple question. RCB, how have they fared in terms of the auction business? Yay or nay for you?
Uh, I think it is a bit dicey to judge RCB actually. 5 to 6 years ago, when they had Gale, AB de Villiers, and Virat Kohli, we used to call them a betting heavy side, but very light on bowling. This year, I feel after the auction, I think they have overhauled their tactics completely. I think they are a bowling heavy side. In fact, I will go to the extent to say that they might be the best bowling side of this tournament, but their batting is very light. So yeah, I that is all I will say. My RCB preview in a nutshell is great bowling side, but uh, but a lot of loopholes in the batting lineup.
Yeah, we'll get to those loopholes. We'll get to the lineup as well. But first and foremost, like we always do in all the previews that we're showing you before IPL 2022, we'll show you a squad depth. And right now, it looks like this from an RCB perspective. Now, Shub, what I want you to do is talk to me about the potential strengths and weaknesses when you see this chart first and foremost. What catches your eye? Is it, like you mentioned, the paucity in batting, or is it the strength in bowling, which is not something that you normally associate RCB with, is it?
Well, it is actually both. But one thing I will like to mention that why I really like the look of their bowling lineup is that they have everything you would want in your T20 bowling lineup. They have three options for power play bowling in Josh Hazelwood, David Willey, and Jason Behrendorff. Any one of them can play. So I don't think power play wickets will be an issue for them, which was last year actually. So power play Pacers a big take. Then for death overs they have Harshal Patel, and you always need one bowler who can contribute a bit in every department actually, who can support the power play specialist as well as the death over specialist. And I think Mohammad Siraj does that job quite well. He has the pace, he has bounce, he can bowl the slower ones as well. And if he gets the conditions right, he can himself be a lethal option to take wickets with the new ball. So yeah, I feel their bowling is very much sorted. In Vanindu Hasaranga, they have the best leg spinning all rounder in the world going on right now. You have
No,
a
that,
you have
that's a joke, Shub. Come on. You're actually kidding yourself when you say that.
Dude, I don't think there are many leg spinners who can bat as well. I think the only other option is Shadab Khan. Actually, I cannot think about a lot other options right now. But I think Shadab Khan is the only other option, and he's not available in IPL for obvious reasons. So yeah, so that is why I feel so. You see, they have everything. I just mentioned the pace bowling department. In the spin, you have a attacking wrist spinner, you have a left arm spinner, and then you have 3 overs of Glenn Maxwell as well if you want to tackle the left-handers in the opposition lineup. So I think that is exactly how a T20 bowling lineup should be. Both their finger spinners contributes a lot with the bat as well. So yeah, I think that is what frames them uh, that is what makes that is what turns them into a great bowling side. But yeah, with the bat, I think they lack a lot of they lack variety. They all all your all your big guns are right-handers actually, and the lefties Anuj Rawat, Mahipal, Lomrod, they still have a lot of catching up to do. So yeah, that is what I feel. That is why I feel their batting lags behind.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a very vital point at the top of the show, the fact that they've relied on a legacy players in terms of Gale and De Villiers and Kohli. Now, of course, Gale, they lost not, I mean, what, 3 years, 4 years ago now, no De Villiers, which is going to be a fascinating subplot for the IPL, let alone RCB. Now, you spoke about a couple of guys like Anuj Rath and, of course, Mahik Balram. No, fingers crossed they click and they come to the party somehow. Let's now evaluate their best 11 show on paper, that is, right now. Now, given the fact that everyone's available, now there is questions about Hazelwood or whether he can play the first game or not. Let's see how that really unfolds in time. But do you think this, what we're showing you right now, is perhaps their strongest 11, or do you see people like Siddharth Kaul and Karan Sharma probably be front runners as well?
I don't see them as the front runners right now. I think the 11 on paper is quite solid. Uh,
Okay.
I don't think you will need to worry about Josh Hazelwood's unavailability to start with, because you have a David Willey to replace him. He adds the left armers variety as well, as he can lengthen the batting lineup. Uh, and you can actually throw him in the top order to add that left-hander tinge as well to your batting side. So I
Correct.
don't think Hazelwood's availability will be an issue. Uh, and yeah, Karan Sharma and Siddharth Kaul, they are good players, but I don't think RCB will need them right away, because, as I said, their bowling lineup is very much sorted. So why fix something that is not broken by bringing in two French players in the side?
Yeah, and the inevitable question that I was going to ask you, and of course RCB fans will be debating amongst themselves, is where does Virat Kohli bat? Now, the numbers suggest that he, of course, thrives while opening, but many people think that he should bat one down, given the fact that Faf and Anuj can probably start something at the top of the order. Maybe there's Finn Allen as well who comes in the equation, but then you have to drop one of the overseas. How do you see it, and where do you think the Kings should bat? Because that's a critical question for all RCB fans.
So one thing I am definitely looking forward to is one of my favorite subplots on the RCB side is that, see, first of all, I feel that Faf and Virat will open together to start the tournament with, but I don't see that as a fruitful batting combination for a couple of reasons. The first is that both can be bogged down with spin, and if I am the opposition captain, I will start with left arm spin right away, and both of them have very mediocre. Have very mediocre strike rate against that type of bowling. So yeah, that is why I feel that at some point RCB will have to bring in a guy like Finn Allen. And what I want to see is that which overseas player do they drop, because Maxwell and Hasranga are totally undroppable in this side. Faf du Plessis is the captain. Now your only option is to drop your power play specialist, which is also a pretty key role. So I, I I'm really interested to see that whom will they drop, if and when and if they would have to bring Finn Allen in the side as an opener, and then who will drop down in the batting order between Faf and Virat Kohli, because both their optimal positions are at the top of the batting order. So yeah, even I don't know right now. I think Virat should open. I think Faf du Plessis should open as well. I also think that combination will not work for RCB in the long run. So yeah, I mean, that is one of my favorite subplots regarding this side. That what happens to that opening slot, and where does Virat Kohli end up batting towards the end of the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, it's so crucial that Virat kind of gets that 500 or 600 run season. If he can give us more, that'll be great. And I say us because I'm representing an RCB fan base here. But jokes apart, though, the last question I want to ask you is about that fourth overseas slot, because you mentioned the pros and cons of it. Finn Allen's not a southpaw. If he was a left-hander, there's probably more incentive to play him at the top of the order. But do you think that could cost RCB the fact that they have those righties, and maybe they have to throw in someone like an Anuj Rath or a Mahipal Lamro to break that monotony?
That can, I feel, and I feel that will at some point. That definitely will, because your bowling lineup is solid, but there are just too big a loopholes to fill in that batting side. First is this monotony of right-handers, and teams with only right-handers, they it is very easy to plan against them. I have seen this time and day in and day out. Every team requires a quality left-hander in the middle order. Delhi have Rishabh Pant. There are many other such options available with every side almost. RCB doesn't possess such a luxurious option right now. So I think that is where RCB will lag. Another factor is how do you fill the void left by AB de Villiers. I mean, you
Yeah,
know it yourself that
seriously.
AB de Villiers used to win you minimum of 3 to 4 games every year, and your only option to fill that hole right now is Dinesh Karthik. He's not bad himself, but dude, just AB de Villiers, the hole he has left in the wall. I mean, it is just too big to fill. I mean, you might need 2 or 3 guys to fill his shoes, right? And
Yeah.
you only have Dinesh Karthik right now, and I feel that your batting lineup right now is actually resting too heavily on the shoulders of Glenn Maxwell, and he will not be there to start your tournament actually. So,
Yeah.
uh, how does RCB fill those massive gaps with the bat? And I think that is the thing that will break your dreams once again.
It will, and that's what's always cost us. And every time it's that nightmare where any game, whether we're batting first or chasing, we lose the top three and then the game's done. And even with this particular squad, which just showcased the 11 once again, I'm really not confident in that lower middle order in terms of Lomrod, Karthik, Shabaz Ahmad, and Hasaranga. They all can do fantastic jobs and they all can perhaps pull it off. And it might be egg in my face, but I hope for RCB's sake that those four come to the party. More importantly, they figured out that top three and they figured it out quickly. But sure,
I
thanks
would
so
like
much
to
for your time
mention,
because
wait, wait,
no,
wait. I
go
would
on.
just like to mention one thing, that one good thing about your batting side, one silver lining is that you can bat till number 10 because Harshal Patel is, I think teams have day in and day out, teams have really missed out on on capitalizing Harshal's batting expertise actually. And if he is coming at 10, as I have mentioned in that lineup, that means your batting depth is insane. So that is one thing. That is one ray of hope in that lineup. But yeah, I hope that works out for you. But otherwise, the RCB batting lacks a lot of variety.
Yeah, I mean, there are other names where I'm trying to peer at the screen and try to gain some hope out of them. Where, of course, Shafeen Rutherford comes to mind. There's hidden gems in maybe a Lavneet Sisodia. Who knows? Anishwar Gautam might really take to the IPL. But again, it's a lot of question marks which still surround this particular squad. Potential is there, but it's not potential which really wins you the toughest T20. Shub, thanks so much for your time. And of course, let's see how RCB trickle along. Hopefully, it's better than my hair today, which is all over the place, and RCB have a roller coaster of a ride like they always do.